put that pressure back on myself and to be accountable to the other coaches and to Matt to say, hey, look at like, if I hold the coaches to a certain standard of how the coaches or the classes should be coached, I myself have to making sure that I'm at least meeting that requirement, if not going above and beyond.
It does mean a lot to me. You know, I get messages from members sometimes who thank me for some of the classes we've run, or helping them in a certain day, or they just let it reminds you how much it means to other people.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I just have an innate desire. It makes me feel good, help people feel good.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the In the KNOVA podcast. It's Neen, fellow member, and I'm actually sitting in the captain's chair for this one. So we've got Coach Matt and Coach Kevin here, and we have a couple questions for you guys.
Oh boy.
How's everyone doing?
I've been up and down the slip and slide about 3 times today, and, so I'm doing well.
Yes, we are recording on Slip and Slide Day if you're joining us for that later. How about you, Kevin? You have a lot going on?
Yeah, doing well. Just busy. Some personal things going on this weekend, just moving and then just trying to get a bunch of gym stuff done as well too. So always something to do, but it's good.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, if you don't mind, let's jump right in. First, I personally would love to know this. I think some of our members would also like to know, like, how you each got started in your fitness journeys and your coaching, and kind of what led you to the point you were at today. Who wants to go first?
You want
to go first?
Okay. All right, so let's see. I think I started personal training, back in 2005 when I moved back to New York after getting out of service. And I worked at a traditional, just kind of like global gym, and took some courses, got certified, started working there. And I actually learned a lot about what not to do.
Yeah.
Like in the business of not just being a personal trainer and working with people, but also on the business side of things as well too. And then I worked there for 3 or 4 years maybe. And then the gym just suddenly closed. So like on a Tuesday or on a Monday, I found out that they were closing. And then on a Wednesday, like the doors were chained shut. So It was like a quick pivot, try to figure out what to do. And luckily,
I don't think it's the last time that's happened in the city.
Yeah. So,
it wasn't Valley Total Fitness, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Because I'm pretty sure that happened to those folks too.
Yes. So it's not an uncommon thing in the gym world, I guess. I don't know. But luckily I had made some great relationships with some of my personal training clients. And actually I had one of my personal training clients approach me and say, hey, look, I still want to work with you. What can we do to make it happen?
Yeah.
And so he was actually my very first investor in the fitness world. So he gave me $5,000, bought a bunch of equipment, trained him at his house, in my driveway, outside, wherever we could do it. And then It just kind of kept morphing into working with him, working with another client that I had, and then getting new clients randomly, and ended up going back into working in a number of gyms. But it was hard to do as a personal trainer back then, because you had to be an employee of the facility for most places. A lot of places didn't allow contract trainers just to come in, rent space, and do all the other stuff. So that was very difficult to do. Funny story is, I do remember being escorted out of a number of places once they found out that I was actually just doing personal training and I wasn't a member and just helping people, or training and working out with other members and stuff. So that was always led to some great interactions. So I did that for a while, and then I ended up finding myself all over the city. So in a bunch of different facilities, clients all over the place, and actually the workload was just becoming too much. And then I ended up having some other friends and associates that wanted to get into the personal training space as well. So I helped them get into it, helped them take on some of my clients. And then it just kind of became this managing this constant schedule and locations and everything. And I knew ultimately I wanted to have my own facility one day. That was always a dream of mine. And so when I decided that I was spreading myself too thin and things had gotten to a point where they weren't able to get better because I wasn't able to concentrate on any one thing, that I decided to really kind of invest in what was then CrossFit 585. And then it turned into Nova Fitness, and then bought into the business then. Kind of short story there. And once I bought in, kind of changed some of the business practices,
Yeah.
had a better idea of where I wanted the business to go. And then it's kind of just led to this point.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
a
That's
quick story of it, I
good
guess.
scale too of your business.
Yeah,
it
it
sounds
just,
like.
I never really planned the next step. It just kind of kept coming along. It was like, I just maxed out whatever I was doing at that time. And then it was like, okay, next leap of faith, do this. And then I did that for as long as I could. And it was kind of like, okay, like you can't grow, can't develop anymore in this space. You had to do something else again. So it kind of just happened that way each and every single time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like a lot of small business owners are like people with an entrepreneurial like attitude or mindset constantly have to like shift and evolve and continue to, put stock in whatever opportunities come forth in the moment, because it's like your clients basically kind of telling you like what they want next.
Yeah, and I think I've always had the larger grand scheme and vision of what I wanted, but I never tried to take just getting to the end and being like, okay, this is a picture of what I want and how I'll be successful and everything, without taking the other steps in between. So I always thought like, I know what I want eventually, but I'll just keep doing what I'm doing now, keep doing the next step, do the next step, do the next step, and then eventually I'll get there. So I've never really been like, okay, in 2 years you have to do this, in 4 years you have to do this. It's like, just try to maximize what I'm doing in the current time frame, and then know like, hey, look, at when that next opportunity comes, I may not be 100% ready or confident or sure that it's going to fully work, but I'm like, if I don't take that risk, then I won't ever get out of where I'm at now and grow and develop more. So
Totally. I think those practices are great for just any area of your life too.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
When I got into personal training, or I started being a trainer in the fitness world, I became a personal trainer kind of part-time. A friend of mine, Jeremy, owned a gym, and not a nice one, like dungeon level basement gym, but it had been around for years and years. And I was just working out there, and he had a bunch of trainers quit because there was like a flood, and they were all mad he shut the gym for a week or so or something to do repairs. Anyway, a bunch of his trainers quit. So then he asked me if I'd be interested, because I'd worked out and done weightlifting and stuff like that for football, college. Just always was kind of into it. So I was like, oh, sure, I could use some extra money. I was working as a counselor at a teenage rehab facility. And at the time that was okay. So I started personal training just for the extra under the table money, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it started growing like, I had started having a handful of clients, 6-7 clients part-time, which was like a second job at that point. On the weekends, at nights, or I had a weird schedule where I could do mornings too. Like I didn't have to go in some days till like noon, client schedules and stuff. But long story short, I had just some stuff like burning out basically in the counseling field. And I was having like a review with one of my supervisors and like kind of getting like lectured. And he looked at me and was like, hey, are you okay? Like, I was just like, nah, John, I like quit. Like I'll give you 2 weeks or 4 weeks notice, but this isn't for me anymore. And then he was like giving me I'm sure you're going to do well at whatever you do. I wish you the best luck. And I was like, he's like, I hope see you around. And I was like, yeah, you'll see me around. I'm gonna become a personal trainer at that gym that we take the kids to, and you'll see me there. And so like I had absolutely no plan, no savings, no appropriate behavior to quit a job and just start a career that has no foundation really. But I liked the clients. I just liked what I was doing, and so to get to where we are here, like it's been a wild road. I've trained in multiple gyms. I've done things like I always had some degree of like I paid a rent at a gym to use space. Sometimes I had like a studio at one place. It was pretty cool. I also was like an employee of a personal training facility, so they only did personal training. Did that for a little while. I've done just but then I went to Knockout Fitness, which is down Atlantic Ave. Another friend of mine, a guy became a friend of mine, owns that gym. And for years, I just trained there, one-on-one personal training, anywhere from 6 to 10 clients a day. You know, I saw like a full 40 to 50 hours a week worth of clients, and was making a good living. I got KNOVA, like I just wanted to do CrossFit. At that old crappy gym, we also had a little CrossFit gym. And I got like some exposure, but I didn't really get into it. And one day I was telling Zach, this guy that made the gym, I was like, oh, I think I'm going to go try this new CrossFit gym, CrossFit Park Ave. I think it just opened up. It was like brand new. Yep. But Kevin, I didn't even know him. He was sitting behind the desk. He's like, oh, you like CrossFit, dude? And he like comes up and gives me like a KNOVA fitness card. And I was like, and at the time, like I didn't know Kevin at all. I just knew he was this jacked fucking Asian guy. Like I was just like, oh, okay, I guess I'll try this one too. So I did. Like then I was a member for a while on and off. Mm-hmm. And, at some point, like Kevin had asked me to like, hey, would you be interested in coaching classes? And initially, or something, I can't remember, or if I was interested in doing personal training at the gym, like very similar, like pay a rent and like. Yep. And I was like, oh, I don't know. You know, I kind of was like worried about like working for someone because I've like it's been for 3 or 4 years. I think I was personal training on my own. I was like really like, I don't really want to work for anyone again. Like I just am done with that. So I was kind of resistant. And somehow like I was like, oh, you know, because I've been taking classes at the gym. I was like, oh, you know, I like these trainers though. They're pretty smart. They know a lot of stuff. Like I don't get how to do some of these gymnastics things. I don't get how to do like, you know, the crazy things. Like, and so I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just like coach there so I can learn from the other coaches. I swear to God, like that was my plan. And like 1 month later, 2 months later, I was like the second to like most senior coach there. Like, and I was just like, well, that backfired. I guess I'm here. Somewhere along the way, I just was like, all right, I got to know Kevin, and you know, obviously love personal training and stuff, and love what we're doing at the gym. I got to be like, all right, this is something I want to do like more intently. Like I think we can do. I thought the gym and the people we had at the gym were like really great. I'm like, we're not doing nearly enough. We could be doing so much better. Like, like I've seen other CrossFit gyms that are like big and booming and like rah 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 and they're fancy, but they're filled with assholes. I was like, this is a really. I'm sorry, other CrossFit gyms, the people that come from it, don't take it personal. But I was like, at the time, I was just thinking, wow, like the members here are so genuine. The coaches, like intentions and stuff at KNOVA were so like, these are just honest people, like. You know, doing good work. We need to like build on this. This needs to be done better. And so like I had a meeting with Kevin and I was like, yo, I'm in if you like want to go, you know, take this business like I'm doing another level. And I had no plan, no idea what the hell that meant. But you know, like I was just like, I don't know how we're gonna do it. But I was just like, let's just do better, like in every way, slowly. And we've. Oh my God, things I've learned since then. I never wanted to own anything. I never wanted to be in charge of anyone. I just figured, like, I don't know, it felt like a gut calling to be like, based on my experience, I think I can help do this better. I can teach some people some things. And it was just like but it was like, so some of the things that have always been tougher in the business side of stuff is like, I never wanted to be a business owner. I never wanted to be the guy in charge. I wanted to be a personal trainer. Like, you know, just work with the clients. So, but in order to do, I think, to help the clients and community, you have to do the other stuff well. Yeah. To make the best impact, you can't just say, no, my only job is to train people. Mm-hmm. You really fall short of actually helping people the way they want. But anyway, that's going down a tangent. But.
No, that's okay. I mean, I think that anyone who pursues a career in their passion ends up feeling like, oh snap, I don't want to be writing emails all day or, you know, fulfilling invoices or, you know, doing all of the nitty gritty behind the scenes business crap that goes on.
Yeah. You know, I know there's
painting the walls.
Yeah.
all that stuff. But
yeah, that's a good point. Painting the walls, doing all that stuff. I wasn't even thinking of that stuff. Yeah, that's true. I guess to a degree though, you know, you get a lot of benefits when you own your own business, right? Or not, or whatever, you know, you're in charge of things. You're free to do what you want, but you have to have like the personal responsibility to do all the things you don't want to do, or else you're not going to get to enjoy all those benefits very long because the business doesn't last. But anyway,
absolutely.
That's one of the things. Yeah, it's like what do we say? Sometimes we're joking. We're fucking painting the ceiling in the gym at like 5 or no, like I don't know, 7, 8, 9 at night. It's super hot. We're covered in black paint. Like, oh yeah, who wants to own a gym? And, you know, like it'll be so cool.
I don't know. I think it's good to hear. You know, if there's any other business owners out there, I mean, even for me personally, like with my photography side hustle, I'm like, I'm about to pay my friend Lauren to set up my customer service management system because I'm just like, I don't have time to do this. It's just like stuff like that. Like you don't think running the business side of things is going to be, you know, bog you down so much, but it does.
I think anyone should know like this to a degree. Even if you're in your passion, like you're pursuing something you love, even just raising a family that you love, like you're gonna suffer at some point along the way. It is going to suck. Like, and if your passion trumps that suckiness, like you still love it enough to keep going, and you're in the right place.
Yeah.
And if you just quit because you just hate it, then it's not really your passion. I mean, there are times where I've been like, for different reasons, when like, oh, maybe this just is not the business for me anymore. Maybe I've reached the other side of this phase of my life. But then when I realistically do like try to step away or like think about doing something else, I'm like, I would just be I'd like just be living, remembering the good times of when I had that job I loved. You know what I mean? Like it would just be the perpetual, you know, living on memory lane or something. But anyway,
totally.
I mean,
and the passion you guys have for this business and this facility specifically, like totally comes through in your coaching. I think actually I take mostly your guys' classes because I mostly come in the morning, but so I can't like speak to all the other coaches. But in terms of passion, I mean, I definitely feel that as a member when I'm taking class. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
So what has surprised you most about yourself this past year? It was a tough one.
Go
too.
first.
It was a really tough year,
so let's see, calendar year from June to June. Oh, you can go first.
Or you can just talk
the
about
last year.
challenges with, 2020 or just even in terms of moving facilities, maybe all of it together, like.
I think I've become a little more flexible in my thought process and the way I want things done. So that's probably, as a business owner, that's probably the hardest thing that I've still struggled with. It's kind of like, I like things done a very specific way. If you ever get a chance to talk to my wife, she'll let you know that I'm very particular. But it holds you back, and you can only do so much. I only have so many hours in the day. Not everything needs to be done my way as well too, and that's the thing that I'm learning as well too. There's other people that have great ideas. They could be more creative and imaginative in the way they want to do things, and it actually could lead to a better experience for the members. And so over the last year, I've realized that though I'm trying to work on that I still actually really have to force myself to let some of that stuff go, to say, hey, look, to delegate better, to pull myself back some, because I've done it in the past and I've done it incorrectly, where I didn't have the right parameters in place to give people all those type of freedoms, or to allow them to have those decision-making processes within a confined space. And then unfortunately it hasn't worked out well in that scenario. But now, as I'm trying to relearn some of that stuff and learn new skills and say, hey, okay, you have the ability to do this within this defined like parameters. And then people are like, okay, I have the freedom to do that stuff, great, but they know what the expectation still is, what the common vision is still, and then together we're still kind of working towards that. So over the last year, trying to fix that. I think in myself that I've learned as well, just on a workout side, is trying to how to deal with things. It's try to manage the amount of time I have, try to manage what my fitness goals are, what's important to me, prioritize those type of things. I think it's something that we always push onto the members and try to be a better example of that. Yeah. And I think this past year of dealing with some injuries, dealing with less time to train, moving up into a different age group within the CrossFit community, it's kind of like you kind of have all these ideas and you really have to prioritize them and understand, like, hey, look at where can I put my energy and where is that best suited, and for me right now, a lot of it is the business. So would I love to still try to train 4 hours a day? Yeah. But if I know that I do that, the business will become stagnant. We won't be able to grow. I won't be able to develop the coaches. The members will have a less than great experience. So that has to be put on the back burner for right now.
Yeah.
And then that can be readdressed if I can get the other things up to where I want them to be.
Sure.
So that's probably like the biggest thing I've actually had to really concentrate on over the last year.
Okay. How about you, Coach Matt? Oh, it's a hard question.
I don't know how to sum it up. I will. The further we get away from like the beginning of the pandemic to like throughout the year, like reestablishing normalcy, the more I look back on it, the more I realize how like terrible. I was talking with another friend member here. Actually, we were both talking about like the more time that goes by, the more we realize how bad of an experience we had during the pandemic. Not that people didn't have it worse. So when I think about things that have changed, like your question is like, how have things changed for me? Is that the question?
Or what did you learn about yourself?
Or what I learned about myself? Yeah. I don't know what I learned about myself. Maybe I'm just as susceptible to anything and anyone else is. But I definitely had some things change, like as far as like my mindset about how I act or like approach doing things. You know, I feel like I have hopefully in the right kind of way, like a deeper level of confidence in my beliefs and like almost feel like not afraid to share them, not afraid to speak my mind, and not feel like I have to convince people to come along for the ride. It's like, this is what I am, and this is kind of a weird thing, but based on your question,
bought in or not.
When you ask questions, kind of the things I think about is like, yeah, you're coming, I'm on this ride, and I would love for people to come with me and do things with me and stuff, but I'm going to just live it out my way, and I'm going to, and so the other thing is like, I stopped looking at things that I don't think are valuable to me, like or people, like try to like look up to people that have what I want, so to speak, not just the common popular thing. Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but a lot of it's just like double downing on understanding what I want and where I'm going to spend my time and interest, and it's like hopefully it doesn't come across is like an arrogant type, but like I just have confidence that this is what I'm going to do, and if anyone who wants to come with me to be part of it, I'm willing to be there for you, but I'm not going to come convince you to be like on this trip of life or business, things like that. Or like sometimes even just the way I talk to clients will sometimes be so much more direct and straightforward. Like they'll be like, well, I think I'm going to come 1 day a week to CrossFit to start. I'm just like, why? That's not going to work. You might as well just save your money. Don't show up. Like 1 day a week won't help you. And they're like, oh geez. I'm like, if you want to have this program help you 3 days a week minimum, and then when you're, as you kind of build up to it, you can go as many as 5. And then just like to have the confidence to say that and know, I don't think even if I knew that intuitively, I don't think I had the confidence to say that to people.
Sure.
In little things like that, like in other areas of my life too, that the same thing, whether it be nutrition coaching a client or just talking to a friend about like my personal beliefs about a certain topic. I'm like, hey, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to show up 3 days a week. I'm just telling you this. I'm pretty confident that you're not going to get the results you want if you don't come more. You know what I mean? And or like even if it's my personal belief, whether it's a religious thing or a political thing, I'm like, this is just what I think. If you don't like it, I'm not like against you. Okay, stuff like that. But I think most people, and I know I did for a long time, I just lived just enough insecurity to never really know what I thought of myself or like what to say. You know, you ever meet like old people that just say whatever the hell they want, and you're like almost offended, but you're like, kind of admire
at the
it.
root of everything, people appreciate honesty, even if it does sting a little bit at first.
And I wouldn't want to be honest in some rude sense to be mean. I just try to tell the truth, and sometimes the truth is a little, I don't know, but it feels good. I feel like I can, you can just speak freely. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's just something I've learned about myself or realized.
That's great.
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I guess we kind of covered this a little bit, but what was the most challenging thing you dealt with as a business owner, gym owner, coach this past year?
Oh, wow.
You can just pick one of those.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two, right? So for myself, being a coach and being the owner. So obviously on the owner side of things, fitness facilities were hit very hard during the shutdown and during COVID and everything. So it was unfortunate to see that you would go to a Wegmans, go to a Home Depot, wherever else, and they could be open. And to realize like, hey, look at our business is actually something that can help people during this time frame, to improve their health, to improve their well-being, to make them more resilient, and then being forced to shut down. And being able to follow the same guidelines, if not do the guidelines better than some of these other larger companies. So that was very frustrating. And it really got to the point where, we had a ton of great members supporting us and willing to pay and continue their memberships. Eventually, we tried to do as much as we could, streaming them, doing online stuff. But going back to what we wanted as a business, it's to get people here to do things. And I don't like remote programming or coaching people online. I like to work with them as well. I know Matt feels the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when we were doing that and shifting the business, when your heart's not fully into it and you're just trying to do it to provide a service, it still comes across as like, it's not the same experience. It's not the same level of energy and intent put in behind it. So that was very frustrating as a business owner. And it came to the point where we didn't know how long it was going to go for. So yes, was it wonderful that everybody wanted to support us and keep the gym around and make sure we could reopen? But there comes to a point where I have to look at it personally to say, how long can I keep taking these people's money without providing them the correct service for what they're paying for?
Sure.
And so we did get to a point where it was like, hey, look at like, in order for these people to come back, we're going to have to stop everything at this moment in time because we don't know when we're going to be able to restart things.
Yeah.
And so it kind of got to that point. And then once things started to change a little bit, you or myself as a business owner had to make a decision of saying, what are we going to follow? Am I going to just do what I want to do because I own the business and I can make whatever decision I want to and deal with those ramifications? Or do I reopen the business and follow the guidelines to my own personal values and my beliefs? And if I do it that way, will the coaches be on board? Will the members be on board?
Yeah.
Am I making the right decisions? And those are probably some of the difficult things on the owner side to be able to do. And you could see people, and everybody's can make their own decisions. I don't judge everybody, like Matt was saying before. If they were a gym that was like, hey, look at, if I don't open up early or if I force my members to wear masks, do all these other type of things, like their business survival, their livelihood is on the line and people have to make those decisions. But all the decisions that we made, either myself or collectively as a team, did allow us to bring back a large number of our members, to allow our members to feel comfortable to come back in order to kind of see what we were doing and really prioritizing them first. And so that was great on the business side of things. And obviously the financial struggle of trying to make sure, getting revenue in, getting assistance from the government, all those type of things. It's the headache of dealing with the business that not everybody always wants to deal with, right? Like we kind of covered before. Like, unfortunately, the passion for helping people doesn't necessarily translate into wanting to fill out forms on government websites.
Oh, no.
But it's stuff that you have to do. So it took all that time, did that stuff. And then just as a coach, during the pandemic and post, I really had to step back into coaching a lot of classes and realized that how much I do enjoy it and how much I had gotten rusty and how much my skill kind of had diminished being in some of the other coaches' classes, coaching more of my classes. I was kind of like, oh, this is something that I should probably reinvest some of my time in. Just like I'm trying to improve the business, trying to improve myself, whatever it is, my coaching had kind of gotten stagnant. So to put that pressure back on myself and to be accountable to the other coaches and to Matt to say, hey, look at if I hold the coaches to a certain standard of how the coaches or the classes should be coached, I myself have to making sure that I'm at least meeting that requirement, if not going above and beyond. And so that was a good challenge for myself to say, hey, look at where am I deficient? Have another coach take a class of mine, give me feedback, have Matt evaluate the class. What am I doing as just a coach, not necessarily as the owner, to say, hey, look at, or the members getting the experience and the instruction that they should be each and every class. And so putting myself back in that position was a little bit of a challenge during that time frame, but something that I really enjoyed. And it kind of goes back almost to what your previous question is. I did learn about myself in the business that this is what I want to do. Many times I said, hey, look at, if the gym didn't work, I'd be able to go and do something else. I'd land on my feet and whatever it was, it doesn't matter if I go work for a landscaping company and dig ditches for 40 hours a week. At least I know I could do that. Yeah. But I was kind of like, I don't want to do that. I want to be here. I want the gym to be successful. I want my coaches to be successful. I want the members to have a phenomenal experience and to spread what we're trying to do here back into their community. And so the pandemic almost kind of reinforced that to say, hey, look at, you could have these other opportunities or you could do these other things, but if you don't pour everything into this, you'll regret it later on. So I think over the last year really have kind of doubled down on everything we've tried to do to say, hey, look at, this is it. There is no plan B now. There is no, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And not just letting myself down or the coaches down, but all those other members, and really just the purpose of health and fitness as well, which the majority of America needs. And it's kind of like, that's what I want to help. That's what I want to do, is to be known for, is to say, hey, look at, because of the pandemic, this facility helped more people. And ultimately, if the gym closes in 40 years, or I sell it, or once I die, whatever else, like if that's a legacy, then that's great.
For 40 more years?
Yeah. Yeah. But to me,
that a long time.
Yeah. But that's what it is now. Like, really understanding that purpose of being like, okay, what do I want to leave behind? What influence do I want to have?
Yeah.
And that's really it.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Oh man, what was the original question?
Oh, here, let me read it again for you.
I'll try to.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging thing you dealt with as a, we'll say, coach this past year?
Oh, as a coach. As a coach, I actually feel like I've done well. Like, I kind of had the mindset somehow of like, all right, this whole pandemic, parking lot workouts, nonsense. Once we got to the parking lot workouts over at Rising Books, I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do this really good despite all the bull crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, then we're outside, and then we're like, then we're also building out the space with like, we had questionably all our equipment available.
You started that at Raiders and Books, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
June-ish time frame.
So I played this weird game of like, how can I get better at it despite all the bullcrap? Just find a way. Don't make excuses. Oh, I would be better, but it's outside, or I don't have all the equipment, blah blah blah, or like, you know what I mean. So I tried not to make any of those excuses, and then just be like, learn. So then I got into some coaches development courses and stuff like that, and I don't know, I've had this relentless like desire to be like, all right, I'm not gonna make any excuses for anything doesn't go right. It's always on me. Like, if the class logistics are a complete hot mess and people are bumping into each other, or like, the class goes over, it's always on me. Even if the members are, some people are dinking around in the bathroom, or they're taking their sweet time, or yada yada, it's still on me. And I don't know, as a coach, I've really liked that, having that mindset. And so I started with, all right, just because we're out in the parking lot doesn't mean I'm not going to do a really great job. And then it kind of kept steamrolling into like, all right, what else can I learn? What's the next thing? Interesting too, like, I was having conversations with Todd about this a little bit recently, but he likes to do a lot of remote programming. He's probably very good at it. A lot of his remote coaching athletes, games people, or people very competitive, and just also help people. And I'm like, I hate that. Yeah. Like, I'm like, if I had a remote coach only, and Todd does training in person as well, I'm not saying he only does that, but if I had a remote coach only for my career, I just find a different career. Like, the part I love is being in class with people. The more the merrier. Like, it's like playing a little bit of a crazy orchestra of humans, when you're running a class. It's big, but it's fun, and it's exciting. And like, we were talking a little bit about like extrovert, introvert personality types. Todd's is a little more, I think you said, introverted. And I'm like, when you look at it that way, I think it's like, because I love the energy of the class. Yeah. I feel energized. So 5 a.m, 3, 2, 1, all right, guys, class time, let's start. I go from being tired to being like, showtime, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I just think, and so like by the time 7:30 or 8:30 class is over, and I'm done teaching the morning classes, I'm like, whew, exhale. I'm tired. That was fun. But I'm glad, but in the moment, it's like, you don't even think about it. Just go, go, go. Yeah. I think some of those things, like the way I feel about it now, started like in the pandemic as a coach. And, and the more you learn, the easier it is. And like, you can do more with the groups of classes or different, variety of athletes. Yeah. Still trying to get better. There are days where I'm like, well, the members might not know it, but that class was complete shit. Or like, I was just completely disorganized. My warm-up didn't make sense. Or like, and then there are times where I'm like, hey, someone look at this. I'm doing a good job. Someone look at this. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So in terms of the gym and its growth, what are you most hopeful for?
What am I most hopeful for? Well, obviously, we just introduced a weightlifting program working with Todd.
Yeah.
So that definitely is something that I'd love to see continue to grow and develop on that aspect of things. And definitely had some great turnouts already. People are very excited about it. I think with his personality and the values and the principle that he coaches by and the things that we do here match up very well together. Mm-hmm. So that would be cool to see to continue. And then My biggest thing is, like we were just talking about, is the members to have a phenomenal experience every time they come in. We actually just had someone drop in that used to be a member, and he was like, man, the space is great. You put so much hard work into it. It looks phenomenal. And I'm always like, well, this needs to get done. That needs to get done.
Yeah.
We're working on our coaching still. And it's just like, you forget to take a step back sometimes and kind of really appreciate where you're at in the moment. And so all the hard work that the coaches have put in, not just coaching the classes, but getting the facility up to date, to making sure the members have a great time, reaching back out to other members, being out in the community, being a good example of what we're doing here. I just would love to see that continue on and to see it grow even more. I think we always, or at least for myself, I've always known that the better I can make people here, the better they'll go out into the community and do better out there. They'll be better employees or employers. They'll be better husbands, wives. They'll be better brothers, sisters, children to their parents, whatever it is. I've always just wanted that. So there's not a lot of places for people to be able to improve on themselves like that. And through physical exertion and challenges, people get that. And so that's why if we can help more people in the community do that stuff, and we can reach a larger audience, that's always ultimately the goal.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Yeah, I know for me, like, even through the pandemic, I think I may have even said this to you one time, Matt, like, this was the only place that I was like actually learning new things and challenging my mindset and challenging my physical being, and like, because without being able to like go out and experience new things or interact with new people, like you stop learning about yourself a little bit, so it's been great that you guys have given that opportunity to the community, and excited to see what's next. So what about you, Matt?
Things to look forward to.
What are you most hopeful for the growth in the gym?
Well, first, the members that are here, like, I do genuinely, in the deepest part of my heart, like, want everyone to get the results they're looking for. Like, people that came in there want to lose a little weight, or they want to be stronger or learn new moves, or, weightlifts, whatever the thing is, get the results they want. And then just to keep bringing in more people that are in bad shape and bad health, and then get the results, and just continuing that cycle over and over again. People that come in out of shape, getting great health, great physical fitness, they look great, they hopefully they bring someone else in and they teach them, and model what to do for those other next people. But I care so much more about like them actually getting real results that they feel in their heart, and they see on their body in whatever way it's meaningful to them, more than like how much we get paid or this and that. And then like also, the goal every single day and every month to month and week to week is to make this place better, like our coaching better, our facility and equipment better, the space we have access to bigger and better. And like, so I always like, I think we do an all right job of it now. We're trying to do more, but try to over deliver. Like, the value you get from being a member here should always be more than what your dollar amount you pay. So even if we raise our prices to $200 a month, I promise before we do that, you're going to receive far more than $200 a month in value. Like, whether that's the type of coaching we offer, programs we offer, things you have access to, all the things we've added in the last year. Like, if people were members of the gym, pre-pandemic or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I guarantee you if you come in today, like, it'll be better than what you were experiencing before. And in different ways, some things are still need to get better, but if you come in 6 months or a year from now, I promise you it's going to be better than it is today. Like, so everyone who's here now, if you like it and you think this is pretty good, I'm telling you, just wait and see. I'll find it. I don't know exactly how it'll look or how it'll be, but we will be better every passing year and every in some little ways, a little bit at a time. That's what I'm looking forward to. So it's like, I don't know exactly what better is going to mean in every area. I have some ideas, but I just can. We're not gonna become complacent, and just be like, this is good enough. This is good enough. We'll be where we're at for a while. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I know that people get tired. It's hard to maintain that intensity, especially when life comes around in other ways. But like, I don't ever understand why businesses, like, people, they just find a point where they're just like, I'm good enough. I don't want more. You know, that's just me though. But what do I know? I'm a trainer. I pick things up, put them down for a living. But you know what I mean. So that's what I look forward to. Is like, where will we be in another year?
Yeah.
Because like, I remember we were looking at. I think it was the day we got keys to come in here. Emily and I did a workout, and I remember just looking at the building like, F me. This is gonna be a long 6 months. It's a little up and down, but
no, I think you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, I remember walking through with everyone and be like, all right, like just follow along with me. I promise. Like we're gonna make it work. And like, yeah, there's no bathrooms. There's no real workout area. It's just like a shell of a building. It's been vacant for a while, and I'm just kind of like, all right, we have this idea, and you hopefully surround yourself with good people, and they're on board as well too, and they're committed, and it's gotten us this far, so it's nice to see.
No, it's great. It's been great. I joined like just as you were coming into this building,
Okay.
so for me it's been really cool just to watch the progression of like how things are coming together and like physically in the space too,
Yeah.
So
I
that's been
remember
really
the
cool.
old space, man. It started pretty
It started rough
ratchet
over there too.
And it became pretty nice. It just wasn't big enough, and there was a kind of odd shape to it. The building was kind of not shaped very,
I think one more thing about like developing and looking forward to the next year as well too. Matt talked about it a little bit, was just like being confident in our vision and our goal as the gym. Is to have those tough conversations with people, and I think it does show caring. Every gym can do their own thing, and it's great to have athletes can do all the games workouts and lift heavy weights and everything. But for us, it's always been like, we've wanted to help people. So the people that are out of shape, can't play with their kids, on medications, all those other type of things. It's kind of like, how do we help those people? Because those people need direction, right? They've never gotten the information, or it's never gotten through to them how to apply it to themselves.
Yeah.
And so having those more difficult conversations with people, but it's only because the coaches have developed themselves to say, hey, I know I'm holding myself to the highest standard possible, and it's working for me. And then to have that confidence to say that to somebody else, to say, hey, if you follow us and you do the things we say, to do the things we're doing here, it will work for you too. I promise you. It's not going to be easy, and it won't always be comfortable, and there'll be times where you probably don't want to be here, or could go somewhere else because it's going to be easier, but I promise you won't get the results that you want. And not just the physical side of things, but those mental side of things as well too, for those people to build better confidence, to have more self-value, to know that they can be comfortable in their own skin and stuff. And so that's what I look forward to as well too, is to say, hey, develop our coaches so they can have more of those real, very meaningful interactions with our members and future members.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, last but not least, just what keeps you guys motivated and optimistic? And on a positive note.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm secretly angry on the inside, so I vent all my energy through the effort I put into the gym. That way I don't murder anyone in the street. No, don't say that. It's half true. That's half true. No, it's the people. Like for me, anyway. I'll get emotional if I say too much. It does mean a lot to me. I'll literally get upset if I start thinking about this. It does mean a lot to me. I get messages from members sometimes that thank me for some of the classes we've run, or helping them in a certain day, or they just laugh. It reminds me of how much it means to other people.
Yeah. For
whatever reason, I just have an innate desire. It makes me feel good to help people feel good. So that's the real reason. I would feel horrible if we had to shut down the gym or something because of all the people I feel like we let down. That are counting on us.
Yeah.
So it keeps me driven. And when I see people hit PRs and do things for the first time they've ever done, it really does make me feel really good to see them be happy doing it. So that just keeps me wanting to do it again. It's like chasing a dragon. Every time somebody hits a first muscle up or their heaviest squat or whatever, even just doing their flexibility in a proper place, I smile like in my heart a little bit, and I just go, all right, on to the next thing. It's like, again, I want to do it again with the next person, or what's the next step for that person? What do they want next? So that just keeps me coming back.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the similar stuff like on the coaching side of things. And then for me, I always look at things as opportunities, like trying to provide opportunity. Like I know that when I go back to the beginning, when I started personal training, coaching, everything else, like it was extremely difficult to do. It was very hard to get a career started that way. So I was like, okay, what can I do essentially to pay it forward, to make it easier on somebody who wants to get into this field, who truly wants to help other people, who obviously has the right drive and passion. Can I put them in a position or provide an opportunity for that person to get better, to develop and grow? And on the business side of things, that's how I've always stayed motivated. It's kind of like I want to provide as much opportunity for the coaches as possible. So I know I've always struggled with that as well too, to say, okay, if a coach ever leaves or they have a better opportunity somewhere, and a lot of obviously things even financial driven, but it's like, okay, if someone's not just financially driven, what other ways can I provide opportunity for that person, and challenging myself and making sure that I can always meet those. So that's always motivating for me. It's to say, hey, look, I want to provide opportunity. I want to leave things better. I want to make sure that I'm helping as many people as I can. And it's motivating for me just to say, hey, look and to learn. Like there's so much stuff with the business that I have no idea about and that I never got into, that like we talked about, like I wanted to get in to train people, help people. But now it's the challenge of, can I be a better gym owner? Can I be a better business owner? It doesn't matter what business it is. It just happens to be the gym. But how do I be a better owner? How can I make sure that our product is better than the other person's product? How can I make sure that our employees or people want to come here to work because our facility is so great, our members are so great, and making sure that, Matt touched on it, that a member from 6 months from now is like, I can't believe we used to do that 6 months ago, or a year ago that was ridiculous that we used to do things like that, or I can't believe this place looked like that, 4 years ago. Whatever it is, it's always just kind of like, yes, there has to be something more, and what Matt was kind of joking about is like, how can you settle? And I think there's always like 2 quotes I always think about, and one is by like Zig Ziglar. He talks about like, how tall does a tree grow? As tall as it can. Like there's no like cap to it. It's always just like It just wants to grow. And for me, that's always how I'll try to like make sure I live my life, is making sure I follow that model. Like, am I growing? Am I challenging myself? Some days it will be super slow and probably won't be a lot, but other days maybe it may be giant leaps. So that's always motivating, because hopefully it's inspiring to the other people that are around me to have that. And then like Matt talked about is, the other quote is, there's never any bad teams, just bad team leaders. So the position that I'm in is a unique one where it's like Matt thinks the same way. It's like everything falls on you. So it doesn't matter what it is. If the bathroom's dirty, if someone had a bad experience in class, a member quits, a member gets hurt, whatever it is, to myself, it's like, okay, what wasn't in place that allowed that experience to occur, and how do we fix it? And so when I always look at things that way, it's a challenge. But I look forward to it. I look forward to saying, when a member comes in or someone that belongs to another gym is like, man, your bathrooms are really clean and nice. Like, it goes a long way, because I know we put effort into that. It's not by happenstance that the bathroom happens to be clean. It's because we've put in parameters, say, okay, how do we make sure on Mondays when the members come in, the place is clean. On Wednesday when they come in, the place is clean. On Saturday, same type of thing. Yep. Or how do they have a good experience when they come to class Monday at 5 a.m, Wednesday at 5:30 p.m, Friday at 7 a.m. Whatever it is, like it has to have that consistency. So that's the motivating part, because it is challenging to do.
Yeah.
So
that's great. Well, guys, that's all I have for you. This was awesome. Thanks for letting me drive.
Yeah.
It was a fun time. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like and post any comments if you have any in the comment section. Follow Matt and Kevin on Instagram. And that's it. That's a wrap.
Well, thanks for having me.